In this video, I'm going to talk about slip trailing. Slip trailing is a technique that essentially you're just using slip, so you're using 50% water, 50% clay, and you are using a little pipette or syringe, and you're drawing designs with the slip. And then the slip eventually dries, and as long as you're careful with your piece, it will stick to the clay. So in order to make the slip, you need really liquidy slip. So sometimes our cups dry out and our slip is, more like 75% clay, 25% water. But you really want to make sure you add enough water. I would encourage you to grab one of the Surforms in the back. And this is one of our little Surforms in the back. This helps to basically grate the clay, and then the clay turns into these itty bitty pieces of clay like this. And then you put that in water, and that gets wet really easily. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Once you have your cup of slip, make sure you stir it around, mix it in evenly. It should be really drippy and very, very watery, because you need to be able to suction it up into this tiny pipette. Got a little water there. Okay, so here is my pipette. You can also use little syringes or anything that you can suction the clay up into. So here I'm going to use this. I'm going to take the pipette, I'm going to squeeze this side right here, and by pinching this side and then setting it into the slip, I can then let go of the pipette, and it's suctioning that clay in. And now I can do little designs. And I would practice before you commit to something. You can practice different designs. It's always good to practice first. So practicing little dots. If I feel good, I could maybe try to do a line. So that's kind of tricky. And what's kind of nice about slip too is it's really easy to wipe away. So if I decide I'm not feeling this, all I need to do is just grab a sponge, a little damp sponge. I can go ahead and wipe that away. And there's really no damage done. But this does create a really beautiful texture on your piece. And so I'm going to go ahead and show one more time. I'm squeezing the pipette up at the top, putting it into the slip, suctioning that in. It takes a second sometimes for it to pull the slip in. And now I'm going to do a design. So I'm going to actually rotate my clay and make a design sort of coming around the border. I'm going really slow because I don't want the slip to come out too fast. Oh, and there, it happened. So a little bubble came out, a little air bubble. So again, I can kind of wipe that away and start over. It's always good for you guys to see me make mistakes too. And that can happen too if the clay, if there's a chunk in the clay. So I'm going to try again. Okay, yeah, so see how a little chunk came out there, and then it came pretty quickly after that. Okay, so that took a little bit of time. It's not perfect. There's this kind of chunky spot right here that I'm not in love with. And I probably won't keep this, but it does give you a little bit of an example of what you can do. And then again, that slip will dry over time and firm up, and then you'll have this beautiful texture on the outside that's really soft and really smooth. And this is nice because I could even go just wipe away that and then kind of finish that line with a fresh line from the pipette. So that's an example of slip trailing. And I would definitely always practice before you commit to your final piece.